Good morning. Welcome to January 1st, 2023. I'm going to share with you guys in this episode of my plans for the year. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. Hey, how'd you like the new intro? Yeah, stay tuned to the end of the video. I have that new conclusion that I added. I updated the text is what I did on that one. Anyway, I wanted to share with you guys my hopes and ambitions for this coming year for the homestead. I have one building project I have planned, two building projects, and then I have an upgrade. The first building project I have planned is to build a new front porch, a bigger front porch with a cover over it. I have to get a permit for that because here in our state, if you get a roof over a porch, you need a permit. You don't need a permit if you're just building a deck so long as it's below 32 inches above grade, so you don't need a permit for that. But I do need a permit because I need to put a roof over this because when the snow comes, it slides off. I don't want it piling up on the porch. I want to be able to open the door and walk out instead of open the door to a wall of snow, which has happened before. As you see behind me, we had to harvest a couple of more dead trees, which is sad for me because I love the big trees here on the homestead, and we lost virtually every tree, evergreen tree, out in front of the property because it got afflicted with beetles, which they became stressed from the long drought we had. It looks like the drought pretty much is ended, so we're going into a moist climate. Thank goodness, because my trees on the back of my property survived. With the exception of a few of them died, but for the most part, they're alive and well, and I'm happy. So I got to get out here, cut these trees up, and I'm going to either mill them into lumber or cut them in firewood, like I did this pile right here. I cut and split a mountain of firewood. So I'm thinking of doing both, milling some timber to build a wood shed, because ultimately we're going to be putting in a wood stove here because we have resources right here on the homestead to be able to make fire and stay warm. Another project I do have in mind is adding some durable, robust storage shelves in my storage unit I have here, because we need the storage space, and we just want to make everything finished off and completed. So we're going to try to tie up all these loose ends. This year is dedicated to doing that. Also back here, I've got stockpiled. I found some lumber on sale, sheets of plywood and some other lumber. I've stockpiled these because one of my upgrading projects is going to be disassembling the entire back porch and fortifying the roof of the back porch, the awning, but I'm using the 2x6 planks that make up the floor decking out here on the back porch. This plywood is going to replace that floor decking, so that all those beams are going to take up. I'm going to use those to resource to build my new front porch. I also want to use the leftover beams and fortify the carport, because when we get a heavy snow load, it really weighs it down. And I just had taken this down, repaired it, replaced it with some sheets that we had set aside, and I used the damaged sheets over on the wood pile, as you guys seen earlier. But I'm gonna fortify this, strengthen that, and I also bought the material to box these pillars in and make them more solid and sturdy, and we'll just paint them. And I've got nice corbels to put up there and dress it up a little bit. I'm going to do the same with the front porch, so all the corbels will match. I have a local resource, which is a bargain lumber yard that I go to, and they have the pre-made corbels, so I'm going to go get those and put those in place. I do have plans of replacing my battery bank over here for the off-grid system, and my generator is on the fritz. I have to purchase a $500 part for that. In an earlier video, a year ago or so, I put a new stator in, and now I'm going to be replacing the computer component of this. It's going to cost about 550 bucks, but I'll have to budget for that later this year. Yeah, that is determined. I got to get my solar panel and my whole off-grid package done this year so we can be off-grid finally. Also, once I have that back porch completely torn apart, I'm going to go ahead and paint the house, paint the whole front of the house, the other side, because I got this side painted when I disassembled the carport, and we're going to go ahead and just paint the shed because I got all the paint. I got a really great bargain on paint. While I'm back here, I wanted to show you guys, yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. Look how nice the garden looks right now. I laid in some mulch. This is cedar mulch on the garden. So it really is preventing weeds from growing up, and my plants can come up right through it. So this is really neat that this also, it stops rodents and other pests from getting into your garden. It also kills rodents, so I don't have the problem with rodents in my garden anymore. And weeds. The gravel I laid on the garden, there's a weed cloth I put down, and then there's pea gravel. This has done me a big favor at controlling the weeds, because I hate battling weeds. I hate spending half the year tending weeds in the garden. It's just not productive. Even though I do have nothing but time on my hands because I'm retired now. Am going to be adding the same feature back here in this back part of the garden. We're going to be getting pea gravel delivered, going to get some more of that weed barrier, and we're going to be adding raised beds back here because I've got some soil I've stockpiled over here from cleaning out the rabbits, the chicken coop, the barn. So I got a good 2 big organic piles full of nutrients that we're going to backfill into these raised beds I'm putting back here. So hopefully we'll have a more successful garden in this coming year. Being January 1st, I just want to give you guys an overview of what the garden looks like right now. I still have rainbow Swiss chard growing here. I got to trim it back. And then there's some to harvest for my meal that I'm going to be cooking tonight. I do have peas growing right here, as well as over here. And of course I have the kale growing in here, right here. Now a couple of months ago I planted garlic in here, and look at all that garlic popping up out of the mulch there. Yep, I'm going to have a good garlic bed there this year. I'm also going to be painting, putting another fresh coat of paint on the greenhouse. And ultimately, I don't have the paint yet, but I would like to paint the interior of the greenhouse and add more layers to get more food growing in there. We've got a lot of food growing in there right now. I've got the bell peppers, I've got some tomatoes growing in there, I got a zucchini growing in there, and plus a bunch of salad crops. My wife is really strong on eating a lot of salads. And then my grapes back here, got a wonderful grape harvest this year. I'm gonna prune the grapes, but I'm gonna wait until early spring. Winter time is not a good time to be pruning because you'll damage the canes or the vines when you cut them and expose them to the freezing weather. You might kill them off. The same way with my apple tree. I'm going to wait for a suitable time. All these little branches shooting straight up, they'll get cut off. And then also I got to trim out a lot of the branches on the interior part so air flows, and also sun gets in there and it gives the apples a better chance of growing bigger and ripening. This particular tree grows 5 different varieties of apples for me. So it basically cross-pollinates itself because of the 5 different branches grafted onto that tree. Another big project, well, it's not a big project, but I have everything in place for it. I gathered up a dirt pile right here, and that dirt pile is going to be spread right here on the part of my yard that doesn't have any soil. There's bare rock showing, so I have no grass growing over here. So I'm gonna, once the tractor gets fixed, it's broke down right now. Once it gets fixed, I'll be able to move this in and level it out and plant grass back here, and also put my new fence. This is the last portion of fencing I need to put in. Right now I just have it pieced together with a short 4-foot high field fencing, but we're going to go with the regular 6.5-foot high garden fencing to keep the deer out of the backyard. Boy, it turned out to be a really nice day. The clouds cleared away, the rain stopped, but I did look at the weather forecast and we've got some storm systems moving in with a possibility of snow at our elevation. So my pond is absolutely full of water. All the creeks around the whole house they're all flowing. It's like my house is like a castle. It's like I've got a moat completely surrounding my house. It's kind of cool. I'm gonna go in here and check to see if there's any chicken eggs. Hey, here's a homestead tip for you guys. If you live in a cold climate like we do up in the mountains, yeah, choose a breed of chicken that is really suitable for your environment. Now this is January 1st. And it gets cold up here in the mountains, but we're not as cold as other parts of the country. But my chickens are still laying eggs, and it's because of the breed I chose. I chose the Buff Orpington chicken. And there's a reason, there's 2 reasons why I chose the Buff Orpington for my homestead here in the Cascade Ranges. Their size is really large, and when you process these birds, they dress the table out really nice. So one bird will feed a family of 4, even a family of 6. You can get a couple of meals out of one bird. Depends on how hungry you are, and if you have any teenage boys, yeah, I think one boy will eat one bird by himself in one sitting. That's how teenagers are. But anyway, they're really fluffy. And because of the fluff, it makes them so suitable for this environment. So they don't quit laying eggs. Even this is January 1st. This is winter. I get eggs every day from these birds. So when you guys choose a breed for your homestead or farm, take a gander at these Buff Orpingtons. Good chicken to have around the homestead. I really enjoyed these birds. I used to have Barred Rocks and Rhode Island Reds up at the other farms, and I'm babysitting a couple of chickens that belong to my daughter's friend who moved. So we got her chickens, and I can tell her chickens' eggs from mine because her chickens lay the bluish green eggs. I'm gonna go ahead and rest the eggs right here for now because I want to take you guys around the homestead, give you guys the tour, show you some other projects I want to get done this year. I'm also going to show you the not so glamorous side of the homestead. Come on. Yeah, we've got the bunnies to look in on. Speaking of projects, the chicken coop gets a new coat of paint. So does the bunny bungalow. It gets a new coat of paint. Yeah, I got 3 breeding pair of rabbits in here. Well, and I have that mystery rabbit also. Yeah, I think I'll just call him Mystery because I don't know where he came from. He just showed up on the floor in the bunny bungalow one day when the door was ajar. So I bred him with my so she's going to have babies first part of February, and being it's in this environment in here, it's warm enough so the babies won't be freezing to death. Also, it keeps the water from getting frozen. Having this little shed, I no longer struggle with frozen water. It's really nice and convenient. I do have plans in the future, and I've got all the parts for it. I'm going to install a water system again in the roof and have it fed down so I can just add the water outside maybe once a week, and then the water will just gravity feed down and they'll have their own little individual nipple things to be able to suck water from. So I'm excited about getting that in operation. I've got the same system I'm setting up for the turkeys and the chickens. Oh, I still gotta take the wreaths down and put them away. Yeah, come this way. I'm gonna show you guys the not attractive side to my homestead, but it makes for a good future project. Yeah, the well does get painted, and then I'm building a big insulated house around my gravity-fed tank that we use when the power's out, and we can also use for fire suppression if we ever need it. So right here is the unattractive part of my homestead. Some people call it a junk pile. Folks, if you have a farm, it's a resource pile, and everything in here is going to be used and resourced for projects coming up. I've got solar panels here. In that green box, I've got a 12-volt pump. I've got a 12-volt battery to use. So that solar panels are going to charge the battery. It's going to operate a 12-volt water pump to pressurize line to give me more water pressure from that big storage tank. So that will be completely off-grid. That will be another system I'll be building this year. And back here, I also have this cement mixer. That was gifted to me. I got a lot of things gifted to me from an estate cleanup, different estate cleanups I've done. Check out my link to the whole series of videos I got on the treasure hunting series. It's not only going to look for treasures at the thrift store. I also go and help people clean up their farms and their estates and help them move. And then I end up storing some stuff here, or I end up with it all together. Got a lot of stuff. So that's going to come in handy because I've got to build a big block to sink my guy wire into on my power pole. It's pulled out of the ground a little bit because the ground is really soft and mushy, and the soil's kind of shallow. So I need to dig a hole, put a bunch of cement down in there, and cement that anchor point into the ground so I can winch that back and get the wires back up higher so the UPS truck doesn't touch my phone wire coming in and out of the driveway. I've got to get that fixed as soon as I can work the soil. Right now it's just too soggy and too muddy. I have to run out there with a big stick and hold the wires up so big trucks can get in and out. So, but they're all aware of that wire that's out there, especially the dump truck when I have them deliver the rock. I've got to get some more 3/4 minus delivered. And then I've got to get a big load of pea gravel delivered for the back half of the garden. Projects, projects, projects. So I got this disc harrow here, and then I've got this mow deck, and I got a plow back there, and I got a scraper blade right there that all attached to the back of the tractor. And I want to be able to get some timber and build a rack right here that I can just store those things neatly on a rack, because I have forks that attach to the bucket over here, and then I could use the forks just by setting them on the big super rack that I'm gonna be building, and that way it's covered, it has a roof over it, it's protected, it's organized, and it looks neat. And that's what I like things to do, is just look nice. Don't have to paint this, I just have to pressure wash it and get all the stuff off the roof. If the snow doesn't, the snow usually falls on that and clears off the roof from all the leaves and pine needles. I never have to clean off the roof. But if we don't get a good snowfall, I have to get up there and get that off, because that is a fire danger when you get into fire season. So the only thing I need to do with this is maybe put another coat of paint on the doors. Maybe, we'll see. Another project I want to do this year is dig a trench all the way down to the barn, and then all the way down to the billy goat barn, and get some water line buried. Because right now, this little bathtub over here, I've got it inverted, covering a manifold for the hoses that I've got going everywhere in the farm. And that protects it from freezing, because last year I lost one. Last year I lost this, it cracked. Yeah, it broke, so it doesn't work anymore. This is the manifold I'm talking about. So I bought a duplicate, and it's under there right now. So I want to get lines buried and get them done right. I also want to get water lines down here to the chickens, to the rabbitry, over to the turkeys, to the goats. Let's go check on the goats. I worked really hard on this one project, the billy goat barn. And these billy goats, as they grew up, they became really destructive. Yeah, they're full grown, they're daddies, and I want to show you what they did to their barn. I worked really hard at getting built. They completely shredded the little metal building. They've got the wall torn off there in the front, they got the whole back wall torn off, or the side wall torn off. The whole front wall's gone. So I got to get down here this summer and bring in some more building material and completely fortify the interior of that building so they can't tear that thing apart like they have been. They're doing a good job at keeping the area cleaned up. I'm expanding their pasture also. Their pasture is going to be expanded all the way down to the front of the yard. And they'll have all that to forage on, and they'll help me with clearing the land for wildfire mitigation. So the goats are a really nice thing to have, especially when you live in wildfire-prone areas. They'll keep the things clean out. Look at the good job they've done. Now let's go over to look at the girls. These are Nubian goats. These are full-bred Nubian goats. These guys are papered. I bought them special. I paid good money for them. So I can actually pimp them out and have other people bring their girls up and breed them with my boys, so I can collect a little bit of a service fee for them and help offset the feed costs for them and the repair bill. I do have to warn you guys when we go see the girls, we've got one baby left. She gave me triplets, and then 2 of them died. Yeah, Snowflake. No, it was Crystal is the one that died. And then the other one, I found it dead, so it was born and I didn't even know she had the triplets until the next morning. Went out and found the dead one. Anyway, I looked online, and it's normal for a farm to have loss like this with livestock. It's normal. I was just devastated when I found out. But let's go look. Yeah, they get fed twice a day. I keep their water clean and filled. And they're doing a pretty good job at keeping this area cleaned up too. I mean, let me show you their pasture. I do have to get in here and do some cleanup. There's that pile right there I've got to incinerate. And then just other twigs that have fallen. But look how the trees are trimmed up. This is excellent fire defense space. There's my lady. She hasn't had her babies yet. She's the one who had that broken leg that I had to mend it. So we're waiting for her to have her babies. And then there's the baby. It's my only baby left. Yep, there she is. And it's a girl. So she's kind of shy back there. I got to get you guys some fresh bedding in here. So when my wife gets up and around, I can go down and pick up some straw. They sell rice straw because it doesn't have seed in it, and I really like that stuff. And I can clean, when I muck out the barn, I put a pile over there, then I use the tractor to scoop it up down in my compost piles. Yeah, I got 2 big compost piles back there. It's working out really good for me. And as far as working out the details of the barn, I've got to fix this post on the fence, and then I'm just going to paint all the paintable trim on the barn. We're going to get that all painted. I'm going to go ahead and paint all this. I already painted this. I came up and painted this and the trim around the door, but now I just got to get my red paint and paint all of this part. The turkey house, also known as the Gobbler Gallery, I'm going to get some clear corrugated roofing material like I have on the roof of the greenhouse. And I'm going to replace this tarp with that stuff. And we're going to put it on there. And that way I don't ever have to worry about the tarp filling up with water and stuff. It's just, it's a hassle. It really is. The building gets painted. The trim gets painted. And so that's running out of projects to get done this year. Yeah, let's pick up these eggs and we'll go into the library because there's a couple of things I want to share with you guys on neat projects I have lined up for this year that doesn't have anything to do with farming. Oh good, the fire's on. It's cold outside. Okay, oh yeah, that's better. Got my new office chairs here. Got them last year. And there's not much else I'm going to add, except there are a couple more items I need to put into my business to get it up where I want it to be, as far as camera equipment and some other items I need. Not too much more, but in my end of the year chat I had with you guys right here yesterday, I alluded to some interesting activities that I've got coming up. I got invited to model for another project, and it's actually, I'm going to be modeling for I think they're book covers for a Western novel series, and that's exciting. So also got something else in the works, another modeling thing for a clothing line, not the one I did before, but something different. So we'll see how that goes. That's in the works. Also, my art. I am gearing up for a art gallery showing. I'll keep you guys posted on that. I'm not ready to reveal when and where. I already have a spot. I just don't know the dates yet, but I'll reveal that when it comes to that. I'm going to try to do at least one painting a month while I'm going through this year. I enjoy painting. Scratchboard art is another one. pencil drawing. I also do sumi. Like this picture right here, the portrait is done with sumi ink. It's a Japanese style of art. Also, yeah, working on another major production. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, it's. I'll be able to reveal that soon, but I can't reveal it right now because we're actually working on it right now, and it's behind the scenes. I am careful not to reveal too much, or even, yeah, interesting, big, and it's coming. Plan to get off the beaten path some more this year and go to some interesting places to take you guys along and show you around. And I'm going to go to places I've never been before. I'm really looking forward at going. And usually my son goes with me. I like to hang out with my son. We go do exploring. So there's those that are coming up this year. Going to be busy, so stay tuned. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. We're a frugal homestead tucked high in the Cascade Ranges of the Pacific Northwest, kind of tucked away in a little valley in the mountains between Crater Lake and the Redwoods in southwestern Oregon. Yeah, we don't get cell signal up here. It's kind of remote. As you've seen in the well, I'll give you a little sneak peek at this one drone footage on just how remote it looks where we live. Yeah. And also enjoy the conclusion. Pay attention to the text. There's a there's a little bit of a surprise in there. Anyway, click that bell icon. Share my videos on your social media platforms. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. We need 8,000 some $100 subscribers to go to get that big silver award. I think we'll get as many subscribers that I get a month. I think we'll have it in about 9 months at this rate. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll come, and then that will be a big celebration for us, for me, big celebration. So stay tuned for that. Be safe. Always be kind. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye now. Happy New Year, by the way.